All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite dark sorcerer here, Angelus, son of Abaddon. And tonight I want to discuss about a little bit about the rituals that I've been doing and putting forth this month, among some other things that I've been doing on the side. Now, a week before the 5th, I started a series of rituals that was brought forth to me and requested of me to perform. I'm not going to say who or by whom. All you need to know is that it was brought to me and requested that I get started on them. So I started doing this. I started going to a location that I've been every single night and performing these rituals. I've been walking around the area. I even started going barefoot, to become more harmonized with the currents of this area, this region. I started with the older and then with the newer, and vice versa. And then I ended up setting up the triangle of evocation, which is demonology. Okay. And in necromancy, invocation and evocation go hand in hand. It's the same thing with chiromancy, Nikia, and nigromancy, the art of black magic and such. So spiritualism plays a huge part in necromantic practices. So, like I said, I started going to this region. I made my petition known. Right off the bat, I said, when I return in 1 week, which would have made it right up until the 5th, that was 7 days exact, we will begin for 31 days, 31 nights. Every single night. It doesn't matter how exhausted I am. It didn't matter how I was feeling. It didn't matter if it was raining. It didn't matter if it was cloudy. It didn't matter if it was humid or cold. It didn't matter if the wind was blowing. I was there because I gave my word. For 20 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours. It didn't matter. I was there. I was chanting. I even brought my ritual items and set them up and did these rituals live. At least a couple of them, anyways. The third one I didn't. But it went from petitioning the spirits into demonology recently. And I found it very interesting because of the fact that up until now I've been walking barefoot. I've been doing the rituals and the rites, doing invocation, you know, petitioning the spirits to bestow this title on me and to do a lot of things. Okay. And it was fascinating at first. It really was because I was so aware. I kept watching the night sky get lighter and darker, and every time I started chanting, the wind picked up every single time. And during the eclipse and the full moons, the two full moons that we had this month, the 21st and the 5th, spectacular. The moon was bright, it was big, but yet where I was, it was like this shadow had just draped itself across the land. magnificent, really. Beautiful. I took some shots, took some photos just to prove, hey, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still doing this stuff. I'm still asking the spirits to prevent me from going. I'm still letting them have their way, letting them decide if I'm worthy enough to have this title placed upon me. But the last couple of nights, this is where it literally started changing within about 3, 4 days ago. I was sitting there meditating, and it was like this force was there. It was around me, and it was clawing its way out, wanting to do this. So when a spirit talks, when a deitas decides to work with you and to move you to do something, it's best to see where they're leading you. Let them, open yourself up and let them do their thing. Let them guide you. Because you got to remember that when dealing with spirits, you're not forcing them to do anything that they're not already willing to do for you. You see, you need to open yourself up. You need to allow them to have their way in your life. Give them the choice. This is what separates the left hand path from the right. Because the left hand path, we know that working with demons, working with these fallen angels, working with, say, spirits of a graveyard through necromantic rituals, or working with agents of destruction like the 36 deacons of destruction, plagues, and disasters. Okay? You really, when you let them have their own way, they tend to do more for you. More so, they open up the doors and they start changing you from the inside out. Lately, I've been, like I said, it started shifting from spirituality, dealing with the spirits of the reincarnate, or the disincarnate, I should say, of spirits, of souls. It was something unique that I was feeling because when I started doing this triangle of evocation, it was like this surge of power just started radiating throughout that one small region. I started listening to the sounds. Spiders suddenly came out of nowhere, joining in on the rites. And I'm not talking just any kind of spider. I'm talking these little wolf spiders, these black type wolf spider type spiders, these little furry little creatures, these little arachnids. It was very fascinating to see them. I turned on the light to my cell phone, and it was like I had like a half a dozen there, and it was like, whoa, you know, it was mind blowing. It was like, okay, Aradia, Arachnia, the mother within Native American lore, that of the Greek mother of spiders, was there. And in Profane Seals, put out by Sumnus Dreadwood, it actually speaks of the arachnid mother. Going into the mythology, you have the American, Indian, the Native Americans who believed that Arachnia, or the mother spider, was the mother and creator of all humanity. You go into Greek mythology, And you see another variation where she was a weaver and she went up against Athena. And Athena changed her into Arachne. And she became the mother of all arachnids, the weaver, because of the jealousy of the gods versus the mankind, humanoid, the human, the Homo sapien. And I mean, these are just some of the stories and mythos out there. I mean, you consider there's a couple mythos of Lilith. One says that she's a vampire. She's the queen of the vampires. Another one says she's the mother of all demons. But then you also have in the Sitra Ara, she's the spider mother. Okay, she's the arachnid queen, the mother of all arachnids and demons and such. So I mean, there's a lot of stories out there just based around this alone, and it goes back hundreds of thousands of years, which is awesome. It's mind blowing. But then after I got the triangle of evocation put up and the older section, I started moving into the newer within the last, say, 50 years type new, not the last 150, but the last 40 to 50 years section. And I was sitting there, you have all these multiple roads just going off in a couple of directions. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get down on the other side and you have a few more. And it was very interesting because at first I was trying to put up the skill of Aurilla, but it ended up being the inverted pentagram. So I sat there and I petitioned, the unholy trinity, Lucifer, Beelzebub, and Astaroth, my patron. Hey, Shelly, John. So, anyways, so I ended up doing that first night, and it was kind of weird because I didn't sleep well that night. I really didn't, and I ended up going back the next night, and I went to that same location. I tried going back into the old, but for some reason I found myself right in the new. And I did it again and again. And then the last couple of nights, I went throughout all these roads. I even went to the gates of this location, and I was speaking in Latin. Not only did I call upon the inverted pentagram with the circle, but I also added in Zazazel, his invocation, the invocation to the buried king, his own personalized summoning, his own personalized whisper. It was amazing. I felt the power radiated. And then last night, right up until last night, I found myself right back where I began, at that first location that basically I feel at home there. I feel comfortable there because you have this like stone wall that goes around and this little statue, and you have grass and a little walkway, and it's almost like a little fort. Those old forts that they had back in the 17th century. You know, in the colonies. You go to the outland skirts and you have the wooden, forts, and you have that drawbridge or the gate that opens up. Except for there was no gate there. It was just an opening with a couple steps. And I keep finding myself back at this location. So last night I was sitting there. I had the demonic ends just playing on a repeat cycle, going from one to the other, to the next, to the next, to the next, and to the next. And I'd been there probably about 45 minutes to an hour. The wind had picked up. I had hair in my face. My hair was blowing all over the place. I had it in my face. And it was kind of interesting because I felt relaxed. I felt calm. Not only was I doing the whisper to Zazazel, but I was speaking to the demonic lords, the seven crowned princes of the air, the seven crowned princes of sin, seven Olympic spirits, the 36 deacons of destruction, to that of the four archdemons, the unholy trinity themselves, to the nine kings, the nine infernal gatekeepers, and such. Just went down through every single one of these orders that I've discovered over the years. And on top of that, I was also calling upon the Tower of Atropy, doing the whispers, utilizing the seals, while I was sitting there barefoot, literally barefoot. And I was sitting there in Indian position, Indian style sitting. And I remember thinking to myself as I was done finishing up and walking towards the gate, the main gate, and I felt at home there. I felt at peace. Even today when I was at work, I looked at a coworker and I said, just out of the blue, and I just looked at her and I said, is it wrong to think that I feel comfortable in a graveyard? I feel comfortable in a freaking graveyard. And it's spectacular too because, I can go out into the woods and I do these rites and these rituals. I go into my own personal altar room and I do these rituals, and I don't find anything as comfortable as this, as relaxing and inviting as this. The ritual says that you will probably come up against some form of opposition. Well, so far it's only been open arms. I've been welcoming. My mood has changed. I've become more mellow, more relaxed, uncaring. Got more energy than I know what to do with. And then this morning, like I said, I woke up, my son's mom got home. She was yelling at somebody on the phone, so I started getting ready for work. Went to go into my altar room. Got the circle of Arilla right there on the floor. And I've got two cats. Two cats. Two out of the three. Okay? Number one, I had one laying right there in the middle of the circle of Arilla. My familiar is always trying to go in there. Every single night. You're laying there in bed and all of a sudden you hear this of the door being opened, and it's like, snap your fingers, and she goes running. It's like, no, it's time to go to bed. But I find it interesting that even when I'm in there, these cats are in there with me. They're in there with me. So, number one, cats are of the goddess Bastet, the Egyptian goddess Bastet, the cat goddess. Cats have been associated with black magic throughout European traditions and folklore. So to see how these animals, these familiars, handle that. And I put up wardings and seals and reversals around my son's bed for protection and cloaking to protect him when he's here. I do the same thing with our bed, you know, but my entire apartment is protected hugely and massively. And I'm not going to tell you what and by what, but it's ironic because one of these cats literally goes around yelping when my son's not here. I go into my altar room, like I said, and I find either one or both of them in there. All three of them have gravitated towards me, or more and more over the last month, and away from their mother. Okay, which is ironic because two of which belong to my son's mother. Okay, and it's ironic that they've all found their masters. I mean, Bella belongs to me. Harley belongs to my son, and then you have Magic that belongs to his mama. Okay, but yet all three of them associate with me. Like right now, I have one over here and one right here. Okay, the other one's in on the bed, waiting for mama to get home. You can't tell me the cats aren't spiritual. You can't tell me that these forces are real, because they are. The amount of sorcery that I put out just in my own chamber over the last month, the fact that every time I leave, these cats are by that door. No, scratch that. The other one's right over there. She's way over by the door. Sorry, I didn't see her over there. But anyways, they're always right there waiting for me when I get home. Just me. They don't do that with my son or his mother. It's always with me. It's amazing. Cats not only bring wisdom and loyalty to the plate, but they're mystical in nature. Okay? So, I mean, so over the last month, I've actually been drawn to about 4 books, about 4 or 5 books, maybe 6 in general. The Book of Kings, the Unholy Bible by Reverend Cain, the Book of Meditation by Marcus Aurelius, and then you have the complete works by E.A. Coetti, Necromantic Sorcery by Dante Abiel, and then most recently, the Grimoire of Abaddon. My creator, can you believe it? My freaking creator, okay? A few years back when we had the 5 super moons of 5 different colors, I found out that Abaddon was my creator. Now that's an honor in itself. So here I am. I found this book for about $28 to $29 on Amazon. So I ordered it and it showed up today. And I find it ironic that today it showed up. It's my Friday, number 1. But number 2, it's on the cusp of the last week. I can't believe it's been almost a month. We are on the 24th of June. The 24th of June, ladies and gentlemen. I've got one more week of doing this grave lording ritual, to seeing what they've done in my life, what these spirits have done in my life over the last month is not only spectacular, but unbelievable, unbelievable in nature. Not only have I been getting hours at work, but I'm on good standing with the higher ups in my company, in the company that I work with. A lot of the negative and the leeches that have been following me, getting in touch with me, trying to divert my attention from sorceries, suddenly just gone right out of the blue. I mean, yeah, I mean, one of them happens to be Guy Creasy, a voodoo practitioner. That was a surprise to me. Now, I don't know why he ended up getting off Facebook or blocking me flat out. I don't really know. I actually like his work, but he even disappeared from my friends list. So I mean, it's kind of cool, to see how the spirits work in your life, getting rid of all the things that are hindering you as an individual. Because when you look at a spirit and you say, I want you to get rid of anything that is hindering me, that is not of me and my family, that of what I consider me and mine, I want you to get rid of it. And then you see everything being gone. You see it just disappearing from your life. And when you ask the spirits to test you, to put you through trials, to prevent you from showing up at this location, and they do, I can't tell you how many times I've tried to go to this location, and either you got people standing out that would see you entering, or you have the legal system, like cops driving up and down the road. I mean, one night I saw maybe about 8 cops between where I live and to the location that I go to. Literally, like 8 cops. And when my son's mother picked me up, I can't tell you how many more we saw. It was freaking out, unbelievable. You know, I ended up being stopped once by this couple that was this elderly couple that was sitting there, and we ended up talking. It was a nice little conversation, but I still ended up getting there and doing 20 minutes of ritual. It diverted my attention only for a short time, but then I got there about 10 minutes later. So, I mean, these spirits will do what you ask of them, but that respect needs to be there. You need to let them have their way, but at the same time, let them work in your life. You see, it's that give and take. The more you show your loyalty, the more you show your dedication, your commitment, the fact that you're placing your life in their hands. You know, in my grimoire, I've actually done quite a bit of research on the Tower of Atropi and lords and ladies of that tower, down to the most recently, all the Legionnaires, 29 of them to be precise. I've been reading a lot on this, on, like I said, these other books. I've actually started rereading the book, The Works of Darkness by E.A. Quetting, while I'm reading Necromantic Sorcery by Dante Abiel. And now I get this in the mail today. Steal Fire from the Gods, Compendium 3. Ironically, I just opened this up, and my teacher specifically said, stay away from fire. To bring Zazazel rum, or tequila, I should say. And yet I just opened up to page 23. Azazel, Steal Fire from the Gods, Compendium 3. Wow. That's amazing. You can damn well bet I'm going to delve into this later tonight. Later tonight, I am definitely going to delve into that book because there's a reason for that one. That's all I got to say. But I wanted to jump on here and kind of just tell you a little bit about this month and what's been happening while I've been doing these rituals, the things I've felt, the things I've seen. 2 nights in the last week, which I know Brother John Saunders here, my brother John here, will testify to, because I've discussed it with him a couple of times, is there's a spiritual attachment that has been brought onto me, not once, but twice over the last week. I was walking down the street, and on my right, I had a shadow of myself with my scepter, okay, my staff. And on my right, my left, the same freaking thing. And then there was about 2 nights where I didn't see a thing. And last night, I went out walking. I just headed to that location again. And instead of being dead even with me, they were at 25-degree angles. Literally 25-degree. That's my 10 o'clock and my 2 o'clock. Same exact thing yet again. So I'm wondering, is it going to happen again? Am I going to see these two shadows in the same mannerism for a third time? I hope so, because it's turning out to be cool. And on top of that, at work, every other time I go to give change back, it's $6.66. Either that or the number comes up 666, which is spectacular in that alone. You know, it's either 333 or 666. Never 999. I mean, apparently that isn't. 999 according to numerology is biblical. It's of the enemy. The other guy. So to see 333 and 666 come up, the fact that my drawer at work, my cashier drawer, was $2 off of 666. That was amazing. And to see how many people are so freaking paranoid of those numbers, it makes you wonder, what is it they really fear? Why do they fear it so much? I don't fear it. I know John doesn't fear it. It doesn't matter if I'm sitting in a cemetery. It doesn't matter if I'm sitting in my own altar room. It doesn't matter if I'm in the middle of the woods. It doesn't matter if I'm at work. Whatever comes my way, I accept it. I welcome it with open arms because I know there's a reason for it. I've come to learn that when you get something, a gift, there's a reason for it. Just like I know that nothing comes for free. When you petition a deity or a spirit for something, you have to give something up or to give something in return. It's a give and take relationship. But like I said, dedication, commitment, and honoring your word is what needs to be done. So with that said, I want to thank Shelly and John for jumping on here with me. And for those of you who are going to come on after this, welcome to the channel, and I hope you like the content. But I wanted you to see two things. Number one, my patron, my creator, Abaddon. Number two, the Book of Tobit, Asmodee, Asmodeus, Asmodai. It's associated with necromancy, death, even. This was just number 3. That was the third thing that's come up over the last month. The last month deals with necromancy, black magic, and death. I know I'm on the right path. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that something is around the corner, something beneficial. So have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to head out for a walk. Rain or shine, doesn't matter to me. Catch you on the flip side, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be doing a video again tomorrow, so keep that in mind. All right? Have a good one.